So we gotta look to what's next because obviously he was talking to Tyson Fury,
That's what the
and
sport is about. What's next?
exactly. But the thing about it was coming into this fight, there were so many questions about Anthony Joshua. He even said if he lost, he would retire. Now, he had a decent performance, of course, under new trainer Derek James. But my biggest question to you was were you wowed by this performance? And number two, does this set up the fight with him and Tyson Fury now? And do you think we get it? So I'm asking you like three questions here.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, there we go. Actually, we could post a comment right here. Tony Yayo. I don't think it's the official Tony Yayo, but says did not bother to watch. Did AJ strike fear in the rest of the heavyweight division? Which also ties into at least two of your three questions, Chantel. So what we can talk about is like in terms of what's next. I mean, I do think that Tyson Fury seems like the most likely outcome here. I mean, that's
Yeah.
something that they tried to like put together for last December. Obviously, it fell through. It didn't really get done. And Tyson Fury, not the easiest guy to work with. Other heavyweights would tell you, Alexander Usyk being the latest. But I think that that's sort of likely outcome here. And you do remember at the beginning of the year, Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua sort of laid out this 3-fight plan for uh for Anthony Joshua's resume this year. And the second fight would be Dillian White in like July. He
Mm.
said at the end of this not press conference, but rather his address to the fans and the media following this fight, that he was going to return in the summer. I think that Dillian White is an option. I think that I wouldn't want to see that fight as much as I'd like to see, obviously, Tyson Fury. To me, I want to see him fight Deontay Wilder because logically, these are
Yeah.
probably, if not the best, the two biggest name heavyweights who don't have a title right now. You know, I would love to see that be next. I think it'll be 5 years late, 4 years
Yeah.
late, perhaps 3 years late, but it's something that I would love to see more than anything else. For me, is Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua's at the top of my wish list, which then means we're probably not going to get it. So where do you fall on this? Because I feel like the most likely outcome is maybe Fury or Dillian White. I would love to see it be Deontay Wilder, potentially even the third fight with Andy Ruiz. I wouldn't actually be totally mad at that.
Ooh. Well, here's the thing. Going back to Tony Ayo, I'm not sure if it's the real Tony Ayo, but did AJ strike fear in the rest of the heavyweight division? No, I think the rest of the heavyweight division was like, hey, you know what? I could definitely get into the ring with AJ and do some work in there. I think he would lose to Tyson Fury. I think he would lose to Deontay Wilder. And I think he's going to lose to Andy Ruiz. A lot of people sleep on Andy Ruiz. That speed, Ruiz has beat him before, and Ruiz is like in the best shape of his life right now. So I'm taking a look at the heavyweight division, and I'm like, I don't think Joshua beats any of those guys, but I don't want to see the Dillian White fight. Like at this point, I just don't want to see it. It's a waste of time. Like
Yeah.
at this point, just give us Tyson Fury or give us Deontay Wilder. It would be nice to see AJ and Wilder fight. Winner gets Fury. Right, which means we might get a Wilder and Fury 4. I don't know if anyone wants to see that, but
Yeah.
people would tune in. But I think that is probably the most exciting road because I don't want to see Anthony Joshua and Dillian White. It would be a waste of my time.
Yeah, and they're not like, I mean, we'll see what happens with Joe Joyce. Maybe he makes his way into this conversation because he's going to fight in 2 weeks. But like he's somebody who would be interesting here, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually wouldn't mind like Joe Joyce and Anthony Joshua being a fight that we see. I wouldn't call that likely, and I wouldn't call that something I'd prefer over the Deontay Wilder one because again,
Yeah.
I feel like that's just 5+ years in the making. And they were coming up around the same time. I remember when Anthony Joshua beat, I believe it was Charles Martin to win his first heavyweight title. He was 15-0. That was not long after Wilder initially beat Bermane Stiverne. Not the time that he almost killed him, but the time that he won by decision and became a heavyweight champion as well, and then held the WBC for years until Tyson Fury obviously took it from him. But for me, yeah, my preference is to see what like a big fight from Anthony Joshua, a big fight. Obviously, if he fights Joe Joyce or Tyson Fury or Dillian White, that's going to be in the UK. But he has returned to fight in the United States since the Andy Ruiz debacle, and I wonder if that's something we're going to see because if we're making the Deontay Wilder sort of fantasy fight right now, where would that fight have to be? Is this going to be a Middle East situation? because that's technically neutral territory. But I wonder if like they would do that fight in the UK, in the United States, or potentially elsewhere in like the Middle East or something like that. And do you think that would affect things, being that Anthony Joshua, you know, obviously had some hometown love in the judging today? He won rightfully, but you know, the scorecard's probably a little bit more in his favor than I thought the fight played out.
Anthony Joshua is one of those guys, though, in the UK that's beloved. People want to see him fight. And here, you know, in the States, people love Wilder. You actually talk to a lot of people and they'll tell you they'll tune into a Deontay Wilder fight. Why not, right? Great story. And he's always going to deliver a blockbuster fight. Now, I think that fight would be great in Vegas because, like you mentioned earlier, we've been trying to get this Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder fight forever. 5 years we've been talking about it at least, and we haven't gotten it yet. So it's a fight that I think is more likely to happen than, say, Tyson Fury, who wanted the 70-30 split with Usyk and then decided he wanted more, you know, after he messed up Usyk's bag as well. But I think it's a possibility that we get AJ and Wilder before we get Tyson Fury and AJ, because AJ was also heard saying, you know what, if that's what he gave Usyk, who has more titles than Fury, for a 70-30 split, what is he going to give me? But to answer your question, I think Wilder and AJ in Vegas, that's where it should be. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, you can go to the UK and have a great time. And, you know, I feel like they've gotten the fights, but I think that's a Vegas fight.
I think, to me, it's a Madison Square Garden fight.
Of course you'd say that. You're from New York.
Yeah. Because you're in the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, so this is why we have that difference. But to me, it is a Madison Square Garden fight. It is. Deontay Wilder hasn't fought, I don't think, MSG. I don't know if he ever has, actually, because PBC fights tend to be at Barclays Center if they're going to be in New York City. But I still would like to see that here. As opposed to the UK. But I actually think Deontay Wilder wouldn't mind going to the UK. I feel like if you're Deontay Wilder, like, why do you care about judging anyway? Because you think that you're going to knock him out, because all your damn fights end by knockout, with the exception of the one Bermane Stavern fight and obviously the first Tyson Fury fight. So